there are some people who start a business and their
Okay.
goal is to, hey, in 5 years, I'm going to cash this thing out. I'm going to make this business as, the best business ever. It's going to be the most profitable. It's going to be so attractive that I'm going to have all these offers for this business. So
Mm.
when you're making decisions, are you making them for today or for tomorrow?
Welcome to another episode of Becoming with Precious, the podcast where we honor the journey of unfinished people, navigating setbacks, pivots, and the messy process of self becoming. Today, I am joined by Scherrie L. Prince. Scherrie is an attorney who works at the powerful intersection of business strategy and estate design. She advises entrepreneurs and founders on everything from ownership structure and governance to succession and estate planning. Instead of treating business planning and estate planning as two separate words, Sherry integrates them so that control and growth remain intentional, not accidental. On top of her legal practice, she also hosts the Play Big Faster podcast, where she dives into the trends affecting business growth and long-term leverage. Sherry, is a joy to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much for the invite. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Who are you at your core? And what is the current story of your life right now?
I tell folks I am just a country girl at heart from Louisville, Mississippi, by way of Durant, Mississippi. Graduating class, 35 people, and I just kind of learned a lot of stuff the hard way. That's who I am in my core. And today I am still becoming. I have a
Hmm.
successful law practice, but there are still things with my practice and my coaching that I see every day that I work on.
Hmm. You have beauty, highly specialized career, helping founders navigate expansion, partnerships, and succession. What was the audacious move or pivotal moment in your own life that led you to focus on this intersection of business and estate design?
Well, the crazy thing is, it wasn't just one thing. There were three big moments in my life that led me here.
Mm. Okay.
The first was when my mother passed when I was 16, and then a few years later, her parents passed, and they didn't have a will or a trust. And so that process, just in and of itself, at a very young age, I didn't understand, but my family had a very hard time dealing with it. Then, fast forward, in my early 20s, I had a business that failed. Did it on a handshake, and the business itself was successful, but the partnership failed because we did not have a lot of formalities in place. And the third thing that really prompted me to go to law school and to make a formal pivot was in 2008 when the market crashed. I was a real estate broker and a mortgage broker and lost everything in the market. So I had to start over from scratch. I had a 3.5-year-old and a 6-month-old, and it was hard. And I decided the pivot was going to be law school. So that's how I got here.
Mm. So, talking about starting over from scratch, let's talk about the real unpolished side of your growth. So, what are the challenges you faced in your own becoming process? Yeah, looking back at those setbacks and failures you encountered, and how were you able to overcome them?
Time that it was the hardest. I think the thing that I really had to juggle with was being a single parent and having to lean on
Hmm.
my village and get more help than I was used to getting with the kids while I studied, because I kept telling myself if I could just, get to this next step, get to this next level, then everything will be fine. And it eventually was. But that was like one of the biggest things, is trying to do all the things, be a student, be a mom, still show up in different meetings and different organizations as a professional. So you wear all these hats, and it was very difficult during that time. But it worked out, and now I have, two great young adults, and I'm really pleased with them and how they turned out, despite me being busy during some of their earliest years.
That's great. So, navigating your own challenges gives you a unique lens into the struggles of your clients. And you often say that the strongest businesses are built by design, not by accident. So, what are some of the most common structural mistakes you see founders make during their growth stages that ultimately threaten their survival?
Some founders do not plan for growth. They plan for where they are the day that they decide, hey, I'm going to get in business. And they don't look at what an exit may look like. Stephen Covey says, plan with begin with the end in mind. So if the end, you have to figure out what the end is going to be. Is it retirement? Is it selling my business? Is it passing it to the next generation in my family? But once I decide what the end looks like, I'm going to reverse engineer what I do today. So that is one of the biggest mistakes that they don't plan their business with the end in mind.
Right? Yeah, not as I say, the failure to plan is the plan to fail.
Oh
So,
my God, yes. Yeah.
all right. So, each part of your work involves helping business owners align their operating agreements with their long-term transfer strategies. Why is it so emotionally and strategically difficult for founders to plan for these transitions, disputes, or exits? And how do you guide them through that process?
Sometimes when founders are considering, their next stage of business, there are conversations that you may not want to have. Say, for instance, you started your business at your kitchen table and it was just you. Well, now the
Mm,
business is growing and you have to consider, do I need an investor? Do I need an employee? Do I need a partner? And those are all different types of support. And depending on, the cash flow of the business or just what's going on and your resources, you may be trying to solve a short-term problem with a long-term solution. Maybe all you need is short-term financing, but because you may be credit challenged, you want to get a partner so you don't have to spend any money or take out a loan. Well, having a partner is a long-term commitment. And if you're not set up for that, then 3, 4, 5 years down the road, it's not going to go well. So looking at your problem today and what the solution may look like in 5 years can save you a lot of headache.
mm. So how best do we look at our problem in that long-term lens?
So think about this. There are some people who start a business and their goal is to, hey, in 5 years, I'm going to cash this thing out. I'm going to make this business as, the best business ever. It's going to be the most profitable. It's going to be so attractive that I'm going to have all these offers for this business. So
Mm,
when you're making decisions, are you making them for today or for tomorrow? Because sometimes the value that I see in my head is not the value that the business has on paper. So there are certain things that you have to do to make your company irresistible if you're looking for an exit or you're looking for someone else to be interested in the company. And so that's one of the things that I try to tell founders. And if you don't know, like say, hey, right now I'm just running this business. I don't know where I want to be. Well,
mhm,
still approach it like you're going to have an exit.
hmm. All right. You talk about the concept of having a plan A, plan B, plan C, and plan D because one plan is never enough. So, can you walk us through a time when you had to help a founder activate a backup plan and what that taught you about resilience and control?
Yes. So I work with the different types of business, but a lot of family businesses as well. And sometimes we think that our kids are going to automatically just love what we do and come take over the business. And I had one family who, had been planning for that. The business had been through a couple of generations. And now it's time for another generation to step up. And that child did not want to be part of the family business. And mom and dad were counting on it. And they were, they had a revenue stream set up in terms of residuals based on that family member stepping up and having a certain agreement versus having to go out and hire someone or having to put that business on the market. So plan A was for you know, the child to step up. That didn't work. They didn't have a plan B or a plan C. Now, what I would have had as a plan B, and this is what we worked on, was looking at, okay, if nobody in the family wants to assume it, then we're going to have to do an arm's length transaction, which means we're going to have to sell it to someone who is not in the family. What do the books look like? And they were kind of a because it was just family, they were not keeping good books, they were not keeping good records because it had been in the family for so long. So plan
Hmm.
B wasn't the most attractive. Plan C was for mom and dad to work 3 to 5 more years to kind of get everything to where it would be more attractive. And it was possible that they
Hmm.
can leave before then. But if they really wanted to exit, that they needed to retire, they were going to have to work 3 to 5 more years. And they did eventually decide to do 3 more years in the business because they had not done the things on the front end to make the business attractive to outsiders to sell.
That's great. Let us shift to your role as a podcast host on the Play Big Faster podcast. You speak with industry leaders about emerging trends and marketing. How has hosting those conversations shifted your own perspective on what it means to build a legacy and play big?
Honestly, every episode. When I tell you, when I started the podcast, I kind of did it because somebody was like, my business coach was like, write a book, do a podcast, become a speaker. So I'm doing all the things. And it was kind of a chore to begin with. And over time,
Mm,
I just really began to love it. And literally right now, every single episode, I feel like it was not for the audience, but it was for me. And I
mm.
learned so much in every episode.
Right? So you spend so much of your energy making sure other people are secure, structured, and ready for a future. And that's great. So, how do you ensure that you are protecting your own energy and intentionally designing the next phase of your own life and business?
Have begun to be very intentional about who and what I say yes to. Because at one point, I was saying yes to everything. I thought the more clients I had, the more friends, the more networking circles, I thought that was success, and it's not.
Mm,
And I've just really learned how to protect my energy. And that has made such a difference for me.
all right. So, can you share with us some of the things you do, the activities to protect your energy so you don't burn out?
So I try to get to Pilates a couple of times a week. Now, that does not always work. Because the idea is great. I mean, literally, it's yeah, the ideal is great, but it does not always work. But it's my favorite thing to do is Pilates. But every
Mm,
single morning, before I even leave my bedroom, I meditate because I have to just really center myself and just focus on what's important for today. And I ask myself, what is important versus what is urgent?
mm,
Because, everybody in your inbox, they think that everything they have is urgent. Well, it may be urgent to them, but is it important for me? Is it going to move the needle for what I need with my family? So, number one, Pilates, number two, meditation, and three, I plan my fun first. When I started law school, I was missing so many of my kids' activities because I did not balance and I did not put them on the calendar first. And there was this really successful commercial real estate guy that was mentoring me. He told me, he said, Scherrie, plan your fun first. I said, like, what does that mean? He said, look, everything for your kids, put it on the calendar first. Even if you
mm,
don't know the exact dates, block some time off. Then plan your family vacations, plan your personal vacations, and then you schedule everything else around those things. And it took me a couple of years, literally, for it to work out like that because there was some stuff that was on the calendar that was hard to move. But over time,
mm.
I was able to do every single thing. I didn't miss the stuff for the kids and work. Not that work is optional because, if you don't work, you can't eat.
Yeah, yeah.
But it really started to work and it gave me I'm not even going to use the word balance because I don't know balance, if there's a such thing as balance, but it helped me to prioritize my family and the
Mm,
things that were important to me and to distinguish urgency versus importance.
Wow, that's beautiful. So, with everything you have built and experienced, what are you currently becoming, and what does the concept of becoming mean to you today?
So, I am currently becoming a first time author. All of my work so far has been one to one with my firm, with coaching, and just everything that I do. And I've been trying to figure out a way to reach more people because I really feel like I have something positive to share and I just really want to get it out there. And the podcast has helped so much. But my
Hmm.
first book, Build Your Moat First, will be out October 2026. And
Well,
it's not a legal manual. It is a very commonsensical type. This is, some things to consider if you want to be an entrepreneur. So, I
hmm.
mean, it's not very technical. It's going to be an easy read. And that is what I'm becoming.
Congratulations on your book.
Thank you.
All right, so where can our listeners go to connect with you? Look out for your book when it comes out. Tune into your podcast and grab your resources that is available for business owners and those who want to understand the decisions that shape long-term success.
Yes, and look, the best way to catch me is on LinkedIn, and I try to keep as much stuff centrally there as possible, and I would look, thank you so much for this opportunity today.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me. Your insights into ownership, intentional design. I'm building a business that actually last have been incredibly eye-opening. It's been an honor to have you share your journey and your expertise with us today.